everybody. Well, it's Robbie in Zone 10A from Southern California. Okay, I've had a lot of questions about my mushroom plant. There is the label. And that's what came on the 2 plants that I bought. And I guess it's been about a year. Time goes by so fast. But there are 2, and they're both in this container. See, there's 2. Let me see if I can get you down here. See, there's 2 containers, like I compost in place. And how I did them was I brought them home from the nursery. And they were really, really tiny, in these little tiny 4-inch pots. And I put one in a pot there. I don't know if you can see that. Let's see if, well, take my word for it. There's one in a pot in here. And then, let me see if I can get you in here. You can see this one good. See that pot? Look how big it is now. It was like just a little, you know what, I'll show you. I've got a piece here. That's what it looked like. When I brought it home, it was just a little piece. This is a piece that broke off. So I'm going to propagate this. They're very easy to propagate. Just take off a lot of the top leaves. I should say the bottom leaves. Leave a few on the top. I'll cut this into a couple different pieces. Probably 4 pieces. Maybe 5. Like this. Cut this piece. Take off some of the bottom leaves, stick it in some damp soil, and keep it damp until it roots. Now, real quick on this before I forget, because I tend to forget things. Mushroom plant is a really easy plant to grow. It's really pretty much happy in almost any soil. But the issue is they don't like to get waterlogged. In other words, don't put it next to a pond where it's going to be really damp and wet all the time. They want it like a regular plant. You just water it, let it dry a little bit, and water it again. They don't like being waterlogged. So you can grow them in full sun or part shade. Here where I've got my 2 plants, I will say that in the summer, it was well shaded because of the way the sun is shining. And now as we're going in the fall, it's in full sun and they are doing beautiful. And you can buy them and mix them in with other plants. I've got sprouting broccoli growing here. Now the sprouting broccoli is actually growing in the container. See, that's actually planted in the container where I composted in place here. The mushroom plant, that was put in a pot. I took it out of the little tiny pot, put it in a bigger pot, and that was sat on top. Now the roots have left. They've gone into the container, and I'm not transplanting it. That's the way it's going to be. So when I watered that pot, I knew that this plant was getting plenty of water, and of course, any water coming out of the pot was feeding the sprouting broccoli, as well as my orange peppers here, my baby bells, which is growing in the container itself. It doesn't have a pot. The other one is same thing. The celery, let me back up so you can see it. The celery came up from seed, and now it's already gone to seed, and I just left it. And then I've got lemon verbena, which is growing in its own pot. Again, another plant that I bought that was super tiny, and now it's turned into a huge bush. And then I've got here some purple kale. Probably just stuck a piece in there, and it's rooted and it's taking off. It's I think it's called a Russian red curly kale, and that's growing in there. But as far as the mushroom plants, I left them in a pot. I did transplant them out of the small pot. If I wanted to, I could have just cut the bottom of the small pot they were in, not even transplant them, just sit them in another pot or sit them in there and grow them. But this is the way I did it. I did transplant them. So this is the 2. They have done great. They are a perennial, so they'll keep on going. The leaf, you can see it's about the size of a penny. It's a really nice leaf. See? It's a kind of on the thick side, and when you eat it, really crunchy. Tastes like a raw mushroom, and it's so good. You can eat them raw or cooked. That's why you can chop up, grab a bunch of leaves and cut them up and throw them in some stir fry. Great for salads. I would treat this as an herb. In other words, I wouldn't go pick half my plant and boil it down and eat it like spinach. I don't want to destroy the plant. I mean, it is nice, but I wouldn't eat it that way. I would actually just take a bunch of leaves off, and then if you wanted to, you can cut some of the stems like that, and then take the leaves off that you're going to use for cooking, and then propagate the stem. Put that in a pot with some damp soil, keep it damp and let it root, and then plant it somewhere else.
So good.
I should share with Gary. Well, it's got a lot of side shoots. Ah. Don't mind me. I'm eating. I forgot to eat lunch today. Oh, I had a green drink. One of my new green drinks. That's right. Now I'm going to keep that well watered, and I'm going to let those just set root. Oh, I see a leaf on the ground I better eat. Nah, it's already in the ground. I'll leave it for the rabbits. But that's pretty much it. It's probably going to be a little difficult to find. I have never seen them at any of the big box stores. I believe I heard about it on a show in Australia, that it's a big plant there. I think it's from Papua New Guinea originally. And I saw something, I went hunting for it, and I believe John Kohler from Growing Your Greens, he had gotten some. So I found out that a certain company that was selling a lot of plants that they sell to nurseries, that they had it. So what I did was I went to a local nursery out here and I asked them to get me some. I said, I know you buy from this company, and they said they do. I said, would you do me a favor that the next time you go and place an order or go down to pick up plants, would you pick me up some mushroom plant? And they said, sure. Left them my phone number, and sure enough, I almost forgot about it. I got a phone call about a month later that they had some plants waiting there for me, and that was really exciting, and I went down and picked them up. And they weren't even expensive. I think they cost me $4 a piece. So the main thing is, in other words, just put them in good drainage. And you know, being in pots, I know they're in good drainage here because they're in a pot, and then the water's got to drain out of that pot. So even if the bottom stayed soggy, they didn't like it, they can pull their roots in. So it works out really good. And maybe that's why they're doing so well in a pot, you know, in a container. And so that's the thought, but they are doing really, really well. And they, like I said, they bushed out just so big, and we do cuttings off of this all the time. That's the Latin name. And this is what they say about it. So what I would do if I were you, I would look online, and maybe I can get some cuttings going and do it that way, but I would look online, see who has it, and then you could order some that way, or go to your local nursery and ask them if they can get you some. They seem to grow all year round. I've had them green all through, you know, last year when I first got them. They never went, like the lemon verbena kind of loses a lot of its leaves in the winter. Well, this just kept on going. So you should be able to get them anytime. But I would, you know, ask some local nurseries if you're interested. And they're really a good companion plant if you're doing a container garden. Now, I have heard that what a lot of people do is they have taken plants like this, cuttings, cut them up, put them in the ground, keep them well watered, and they've used them as a ground cover, which is really interesting because it is kind of a leggy plant. See how it's growing? It's like in segments. It looks like a water plant. Isn't that cool? But then it grows from the bottom of the segments, and it starts growing off on the side, see? It sends out side shoots. So if you cut the top off to propagate it, it will just keep growing and grow side shoots. Let's see, what else can I say about this plant? That's pretty much it. I really like it. I think it tastes really good. It's very interesting, and I really like adding it to whatever I'm cooking that maybe you'd want mushrooms in, but really, really good for salad, or, you know, if you make a green chopped up salad to put in, let's say, a sandwich or something, I definitely would add that in. And Gary grabs it all the time and eats it. So, and it, like I said, it's an easy plant to grow. It's quite happy growing along with broccoli and peppers and celery and lemon verbena and kale. And if you want, you know, put it in the ground, the thing will take off. So either way, whatever way you want to grow it, I really think it's a fun plant if you're into kind of exotic greens. It's got beta carotene, and there's another vitamin. I can't remember if it's, I think it's vitamin C it's got. And see, I don't know what else to say about it. It's a really pretty plant. It almost looks like a house plant. Look at that. But it's really pretty. And you know, I know I don't have a lot of insects anyways because of the birds, but I haven't seen any insects even coming to it, so it doesn't seem to have a pest problem. And if it did, the way the leaves are, I would just wash it off. They feel almost like plastic. So good. Even while I'm talking to you guys, I really feel like being rude or just eating while I do this. It's so good. I can't think of anything else to say. Ask questions, and you know, if I know the answer, I'll try, or suggestions, or if you know something about it more, you can tell me about it. But I'm probably going to do a lot more propagating with this now, since we do eat it quite a bit. But again, I would use it as an herb. So that's meaning you would use it sparse. You're not going to make a great big pot. I mean, technically, as nice as it is, if I was going to make a big pot like you do spinach, you'd be stripping all the leaves off. No, I wouldn't use it that way. Not that you can't, but I would use it like an herb. And it's just really, really good. So with that, I think I've answered the questions on it. Isn't that beautiful? I mean, something's pecking at it, but I really suspect the birds, because the birds get in here and I do see them looking for insects. See how clean and nice they look? They do get in here and they do try different things. Obviously, they may peck at the young leaves, so the leaves end up with some holes, but it might not be their favorite food, like they've been eating a lot of my kale lately. So they peck at it, take a few nibbles. Nah, they don't want it. So the birds haven't really been doing much. I have seen them go in here and look for insects, but there really isn't anything in here, not right now. So I think that's it. Again, I can't think of anything else, because these are the tubs, you know, one of my compost in place tubs. So it's got a lot of good soil in there. Now, once I did the compost in place, I haven't added in any more food scraps or kitchen scraps. I do, let me swing you over here, add in leaves, because the leaves fall. And you know what you can do with leaves? Crunch them up and drop them in. Look at that. That's what I would do. If you've got dried up leaves, just crunch them up and drop them in on top. But I haven't done anything else to these containers since, I believe it's been a year now since I got these plants. So, and they're not heavy feeders, or they're getting a whole lot out of the kitchen scraps I had put in here initially. Because you know how I do it. I've got all the videos on how I do it. So it was only that one time and then dropped in the pots. I like putting in pots like that because when I go to water a plant, see, when I water that pot, I know that plant's getting the water. Same thing here. And maybe it's just being lazy. I just put it in there. But you know, they do so well. Let me step back. Look at this. I mean, they do really well that way. So why do I have to take them out of pots? I prefer to leave them in the pots. I even put pots in the ground. So, and if they're a big tree, like these, none of these are trees, but we've got a carrotwood tree that was left in the pot, and thing's about 30 feet tall, and it's already, of course, the pot is long gone. It just said, hey, I'm leaving, and it split it open. But none of these plants are going to split the pot because they're not going to get that big. It's not like a papaya that they'll split the pot and leave. No, these are quite happy. All they'll do is send out their feeder roots on the bottom and keep going. So I hope I have answered all your questions. I love my mushroom plant. Ask around, check the nurseries. I'll put up the Latin name so you'll know exactly what you're looking for, but the common name is mushroom plant, and that's because it tastes like a raw mushroom. Is it the texture of a raw mushroom? No, of course not, because a mushroom is kind of spongy. This is crunchy, but it really has an interesting flavor, and there's no bite to it, so it's not like bitter or anything like that. It tastes like you're eating mushrooms. So with that, have a wonderful day. And ask about other plants, and you know, I'll try to get some other individual plants, how they're growing for me, but they're doing great here. Absolutely great. And again, I've had them in the summer in the shade, and then I've had them all winter and fall in the sun. They're in the sun now. So with that, have a great day, and don't forget to eat what you grow. Bye-bye, everybody. Taste.
Yeah, I like it. It's different. It's got that slight mushroomy flavor.
John Kohler has it, right? He did.
Collar.
Very few people actually, I think they don't bother with it because they don't know about it. They don't realize what it is.
Yeah, not yet.
No.
Eventually people will find out about it.
It's very big in Australia.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's real, and it's a companion-friendly plant. It's growing really happy with the peppers and the celery and the kale. It's friendly. It's a friendly plant. Well, some plants aren't so friendly.
Yeah, I don't know how long it's been in Australia for, but New Guinea was a trust territory of Australia until I think 1975. So there's been a lot of Australians go there.
Well, I like it. It's interesting, and really no pests on them. The only holes that are on there, I think, are the birds that have landed on there, taken a peck, and not crazy about the flavor yet. That's you know, I just hope they don't like it. It's like I've got a lemon verbena behind you. Nobody touches it. I have a lemon verbena on the other side of you in a pot. That's got to be covered with a trash can because something eats it to the ground. Probably the rabbits. Why? I don't know why that one over there tastes better than this one. But that's kind of like you taking your kid to your friend's house or family's house. They eat up their cookies from a box and say, these are so good, why don't you ever buy them? Then you go home and you go to the store the next day, buy them, put it on the table, and my daughter will look at them and say, I don't want that. But you liked them. Yeah, they were good there. I don't want them here.
Yeah.
Kids.
So it's good you mix, so I just ate one with, some with mini bell pepper. It's good to mix it with
You
other
ate my
flavors.
mini bell peppers?
Well, I had one.
No, that's okay. They're actually, it's so odd. The mini bells, which is different, is doing better now than they do all summer. Isn't that weird? I don't understand that. You would think in the summer I'd get tons of them, and I don't. And now I've got them popping up all over the yard. I've got red mini bells here and then orange mini bells behind you. I don't know what, I know the whole place is covered in like 100 hummingbirds right now. The sun's going down, so they're trying to get the last of their food before I better make sure all the feeders are full. You moved and they all took off. They don't know you. You don't fill their feeders. They know me. No, but they've been all over here. But yeah, the sun is going down, and that's when it's so active. First thing in the morning, and then later in the evening, just before it gets dark. That's because they have to load up before they go into their little hibernation sleep for the night. I just took my short video and I just turned it into a long video for the people that complain that my videos are too long. Oh, I do that all the time. You're disturbing the hummingbirds. They want you to not move around so much. Okay, well, I guess that's it. Maybe I'll add this on to the end. Have a great day.
Don't forget to eat what you grow.
And you do. We both do.